Today is Saturday, November 12th, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for week 8 of Survivor 43.
We do 2 shows a week here at Survivor Fans Podcast. On Wednesdays, we do a recap. Joanne and I go through the episode, hitting all the broad strokes, offering some inside analysis, whatever we could glean in the short amount of time between when the episode's over and we hit the record button, which sometimes isn't very long, a matter of about 15, 20 minutes, right?
True.
And then we circle back on Saturday. Yeah, this is Circle Back Saturday, so we can bring in the super fans, the people with the deep insights, so that we can get a broader cross-section of analysis and predictions to help us all with our fantasy league, the JSFL. Because we got picks to make, and this is going to be a tough week coming up.
It is.
Got a double elimination according to the Next Time on Survivor words from Probst. And so we're going to have to come up with 2 people that are likely to get the boot this week. And how might one do that, you might ask? Well, you look at what's happened in history, like this previous episodes and those that have gone before, and then you extrapolate. And that's what we're here to do today. To dig in and to come up with some ideas for who's next to go. Is it just going to be a straight pagonging? I want to see what these super fans have to say. What clues they may offer. Anything that we need to cover before we dig in?
I don't believe so.
How many? How many checked in?
16.
16 this week, super fans. All right, that's going to be some good data. First up, we got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, I feel so bad for Janine, but I guess I wasn't too shocked. But nevertheless, I'm going to let out a great big woo! And Joanne, I hope you're feeling a lot better with the year, dear. Sorry that you were not feeling too well. We missed you in the recap last week, but Stacy did awesome. You nailed it. And I was glad to hear you in the listener feedback show. Okay, let me get into this episode super quick. First of all, guys, I really didn't know. I was clear going into Tribal. It was going to either be Goofball Ryan trying to be Rupert, or it was going to be the sneaky strategist in Janine. And I really, truly was hoping and thought it was Ryan. Why on earth at this stage of the game do you sabotage yourself, isolate yourself from the group? Now that it's you've emerged an individual game, and that's an easy way to get you out. He is so lucky to be alive right now, Ryan. To go out there for 2 hours based on the edit, only strategizing for 15 minutes, that is just ludicrous and ridiculous. Wow. Well, what on earth is he drinking here? Cod or something? Or too much coconut? Ryan, wake up. But Janine, I was sad. I mean, she loses her number 1 ally, Ellie, when all this started, then her idol. But now I was shocked to find out that Dwight gave it to Jesse. I could not believe that. That blew my mind. But either way, Janine had nothing to protect her and no alliance. And she was voted out and off to Ponderosa. And I will say I was so glad Owen won it. Owen has some big story arc going back to the very beginning when they show his opening and all that. Doesn't mean he'll win, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the end. I can't believe still Carla is under the radar like Sandra. No one's targeting her. And James, in a different way, is dodging bullets than Ryan. And I think he's starting to get cocky, too. It's going to cost him dearly. You might see him in Ponderosa with Janine soon. And I'm hoping hoping Noelle, Owen, and even Gable, if they could find their way back in. Sammy tried, but to no avail. Now, I'm worried for Cassidy, because she was the only other Ryan vote with Janine. So I'm worried now if Coco, are they going to turn on her? Like James, will he want to turn on her? Because Kyle is playing the middle. It should be a very good episode next week. And will there be a Ponderosa, guys? I'm going to go on YouTube and see if we could see Janine. I'm hoping for Ponderosa. Come on, Probes. Come on, don't get cheap now. All right, guys, great episode. Take care. Woo.
Whoa.
Well, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, if it's there, I hadn't seen it. But admittedly, I am not on TikTok. And I bet if it's anywhere, they're going to post it on TikTok. I think they're abandoning some of the legacy medias.
I wouldn't even know how to get to TikTok, so.
It's probably TikTok.com. But again, don't know. Do not have the app on my phone and don't know the website. I'm sure we could find it. So maybe we'll poke around and look a little bit. I can think of 3 places it might be, and that's where I'm not. One's TikTok, the other's Instagram, and then the third one is Facebook. But I would have thought you would have seen it if they were being posted to Facebook. So I'm thinking it's maybe one of those other 2. Anyway, it's not where it used to be on the Survivor on CBS YouTube channel, which they are still posting videos there.
Nothing's where it used to be, is it?
They still have not updated the CBS.com Survivor. It's still showing the cast for 42.
Yeah.
So to your point, things are messy as budgets get cut further and further and things get lower in priority, I guess, for the network.
They're like, we don't need to update information there.
Yeah, we've got TikTok and Twitter. Although Twitter seems to be in the middle of a meltdown right now.
If you say so. I don't do Twitter either.
What do you think? Is Coco going to risk dumping Cassidy so James can get a little revenge? He said if you vote for James, you lose his trust, you go. We've heard him say that a couple times now.
You know, I'm starting to be of the mind that Carla would dump James too. I kind of thought they were really aligned, but I don't know that she really is. So
I think she's extremely pragmatic, just like Sandra, and as long as it's not me, she's good.
She's just kind of going with everybody.
When you're connected with everyone, which she appears to be,
yep.
It's having conversations with all different factions that are out there, you've got paths that you can choose. Not everyone has that. I don't know that Ryan has that. I'm pretty sure Owen doesn't have that. Certainly not Gabler.
Well, I would think the women would get really nervous if they want to vote off another woman with only 3 left in the game.
Oh, come on. That ship has sailed. If they were going to get nervous, they would have got nervous a long time ago.
They did, but it continued anyway.
You do nothing about it. I don't know that you really got nervous.
Well, Cassidy didn't vote with them, and I kind of thought it might have just been that she just said, I can't vote for Janine. I like Janine. I'm not going to vote for her. You don't need my vote to vote her out, so I'm not going to vote for her.
Yeah, I'm going to circle back to that because that was my original question here, building off of what Pete was talking about.
Okay.
Do you think they'll cut Cassidy loose?
I don't know. They could just as easily cut her loose as anybody else.
You don't think it's a pagonging in action that they're not just being open and upfront about?
I don't think so. I think it could start going any which way at any time. Because I do think there are people who want to get James out.
Looks like Coco's revenge to me so far. Baca and Vesey chose to work together. Come merge time, Coco's picking them off. One Baca, one Vesey. One Baca, could be one Vesey. Noelle's a prime target.
Could be.
All right, thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with my listener feedback. I wish that I could say I really enjoyed this episode. I usually try and keep my feedback positive since there isn't much of a point in complaining, but for me, this episode was just okay. There's some highlights in this episode, but there's also some low points for me as well. As far as the low points, I'm really not a fan of Jeff playing Let's Make a Deal on Survivor. I hate when he does his bartering shtick, and I wish it wasn't part of the game. I also think in this episode I noticed Jeff being a narrator during the challenge even more so than usual. And I think I miss when they used to just use the camera work of the Survivor players during the challenge to sort of tell the story instead of Jeff constantly narrating it for the viewers. I also wasn't really a big fan of the challenge this week. It just seemed kind of boring as far as challenges go, even though the ending was satisfying. I think the edit in the last couple episodes has left a little bit to desire and led to confusion for some of us fans. Well, with the negative stuff out of the way, here's some of my other thoughts on the episode. Why are people so surprised that the alligator doesn't care about food? Gators only eat about once a week, you know? Gabler's such an enigma. I think Janine talked in her exit interview a little bit about how much of a wild card he is. When Ryan committed to being on Survivor, he was aware it's actually a reality TV show where you compete for $1 million, not literally just to see who can survive on the island the longest, right? This episode was definitely Owen's coming out party. I was thrilled to see him get the immunity win. I feel like he has the potential to play a great game, but so far he's been content just to sit in the background. And at this point, I really like to see him go for broke. He isn't going to make it to the end unless he can dramatically shake things up. And if he does so, I think he can come up with some interesting talking points in the end. I'm not sure how I feel about Jesse having Janine's idol. I guess it's fair game, it just feels a little bit weird to me. I think if I was in her position, I may not have finding out about that so gracefully. For some of my predictions going forward, I think that Carla is actually going to keep James around. I think since he's been loyal to her, and I don't think she views anybody in the game as someone she can't beat. So I think there's no reason for her to get rid of him at this point, especially because he's trying to turn himself into the Rob father, and I think he's almost becoming more of like a meat shield, so I think she's going to keep him around. For my next two vote-offs, I have Noelle and Owen, and I also have another prediction that if Ryan ever wins immunity, the next week is going to be the week that he goes home. I think they're content to let him feed them for now, but the second he wins, it's going to be like, all right, we need to get rid of him. But I look forward to seeing what everyone else's predictions are, and that's it for me. Take care.
Thanks, Robert. See, that would be the beat, exactly what Robert said. Noelle gets voted out, and then Owen gets voted out, and that would be Vessi, Baca. It would just keep the rhythm going for the Coco crew, taking them out. One from there, one from there, one from there, one from there.
Yep.
Ryan right now is tracking as the perfect GOAT. How much would you love to have someone go to Final Tribal with you and talk about how they were a great provider for the tribe?
Yep. I would love that.
That was like the centerpiece of their story. That's fantastic.
That's all they had.
Yeah.
Well, though I don't think he sees it that way. He discussed the vote, settled it in those 15 minutes, and moved on. And he led the whole thing.
And it's easy just to wash that away with, and once he was out there swimming, we got down to the real strategy and worked through it and made changes back and forth. And
I think the biggest challenge this week is, number one, we do know that there will be two separate tribes.
Teams?
Teams. And the thing is you and I were like, well, but are they going to do one of those things like everybody gets to vote for one team and then everybody votes for the other team? Or are they going to keep it the 5 on this team choose and the 5 on that team choose? There's so many variables that we're not too sure about.
Yeah.
Though I'm assuming that the 5 will vote one out and the other 5 will vote one out.
That's the most straightforward way to handle it, the least complicated way.
Yeah.
As opposed to getting everybody to write down a name from Team Red and a name from Team Blue.
With the new Survivor, you never know.
That's true. They could find some way to make it overly complicated with a page full of instructions, a.k.a. the knowledge is power advantage.
Well, and a lot of who goes home depends on whether it's schoolyard pick or a draw or which
how those
5
teams
people
are formed. Yes.
are on each one.
Absolutely. It'll be Noelle's ability. I'm assuming she got the steal a vote back from Owen. but her ability to take advantage of that, to take control, because she said she woke up that morning wanting to make a big move and take control, is going to be how those teams get put together.
That sounds like they're setting her up for a fail to me. I mean, it may not, but that's just what it kind of made me think of. And then it appears she's telling Carla that she's going to use it. Well, if you tell Carla, you don't know what might happen, because Carla can just kind of maneuver things around.
And last week, we learned that Dwight had told Owen, he sent Owen to go to Noelle so he could hold the steal a vote to avoid James being able to grab it with the knowledge is power. So we know Dwight told Owen, and we know now that Dwight gave Janine's immunity bracelet to Jesse. Did he likely tell Jesse about the steal a vote too? Quite probably.
We don't know.
Because really, what Dwight did was blow up games.
Well, Dwight did not know that Jesse and Cody weren't with him. Probably when he gave him that. He had no clue. He was the one going home.
He, unfortunately, this is all in hindsight and from the benefit of the back seat as we watch from home on our comfortable couches, was awful at the strategic and social side of the game. That's my assessment of Dwight at this point. He not only blew up his own game, but he managed to take
Janine's as well.
Yeah, and that's a special talent. That's like a rare talent.
Took her right with him.
Yes, because he didn't really know what was going on. No clue about what the pieces were on the board, where they were positioned, and who was who. After all that time, never sussed that out with Jesse and Cody.
She was caught in the stream of water that was being pulled behind Dwight. Just sucked her right on out of the game.
Yep.
The next vote.
The undertowed got her.
Yep.
Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got an email from Mary in Maryland. Hello, Joanne and Stacy. I'm glad that Joanne is back with us. Sorry you were so sick. We missed you at last week's recap. I loved hearing about Stacy's training to become a ukulele teacher. Good for you. Thank you. And I laughed out loud at Joanne's developing a double ear infection to get out of being a test student.
Thank you.
I enjoyed the time spent on camp life and strategizing this episode. This is definitely something we're not getting enough of in the shorter seasons. Agreed. It gave me a deeper understanding of tribe dynamics and where the lines are shifting. I appreciated that after last week, feeling a bit unclear on what led to Dwight's vote out. I absolutely love finding out that Dwight had actually given Jesse Janine's idol and that Jesse is in possession of 2 idols. That was a great reveal. Now don't mess it up and tell everyone, Jesse. Something that's been lacking from this season is the strategic, surprising play of idols and advantages that makes the show exciting to watch. This week would have been the perfect opportunity to use Noelle's steal a vote. Amen. I was hoping to see the group of underdogs band together and flip the game on the 7 that voted together last time. It was a bit of a letdown to have an obvious boot. Yeah, this is going to be a common theme this week.
Yeah.
The shot in the dark once again seems to not factor into the game at all, and I think it needs to be retired. She did say, Janine said in her interview, she didn't want to take that risk to be viewed as someone who was playing scared and therefore chose not to go for the shot in the dark. What a sad episode for Janine. I really felt for her. She's looked so thin. She looked battered and bruised, lost her idol, lost a tribe mate, and then was voted out. I hope she has a restful, rejuvenating time at Ponderosa. Like many other Survivor fans, I also had chosen Owen as my USB and was very conflicted about keeping him or changing it last week. I feel like Carla or Jesse are in a better spot to win if they can continue to stay under the radar, keep their advantages to themselves, and play them correctly. I ended up keeping Owen after hearing some of the listener feedback comments about the editor's fun treatment of him with the special chyrons. After this week, however, I'm thinking I may have chosen wrong and am wishing I had changed to Jesse. Yes, that does happen. A little regret. I think Ryan might be next to go since they spent so much time on him thinking he'll be kept around because he provides fish and also spending so much time alone while fishing. I have a feeling that James made himself too obvious by encouraging Owen to sit out of the challenge and may soon be on the chopping block. I predict that Cody will make it to Final Four but be voted out, as he is very likable and pretty good at challenges. I wouldn't be surprised if Gabler also made it to the end as a GOAT at this point. Looking forward to hearing everyone else's feedback and looking forward to next week's episode. Thanks, Mary.
If Owen and the other underdog, so to speak, were able to pull something off this week and get a little better control
You're talking about this coming
in the
week?
game this coming week, I think he still has a chance.
Sure.
Though he could go home this week, too. So.
Anyone in the game still has
Yeah.
a chance, absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. But, that always is still in the back of my mind that they've given him some extra things.
Mm-hmm.
And that he could bounce back. It sure looks like he's done for, but because James so wants him out. But anyway, I still think there's a chance. Right up until there isn't.
If I were Carla, I'd tell Cody that Owen was in sales. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California, where I'm having my Saturday bike ride in the Napa Vineyards, being like, oh, gotta send in my feedback. Okay, my favorite moment of the last episode was when Jesse whipped Jeannie's idol out of his pocket, and he's like, yeah, I ended up with the idol. And that, my friends, is how you play Knowledge is Power. You don't tell anybody. You keep it to yourself. I love that everyone who has an idol, Cody and Carla, and now Jesse, nobody knows. They haven't told anybody. They're keeping their mouth shut. They're playing smart, and I really like watching the three of them play. I kind of feel like those three are my favorites right now. Owen seemed on the outs. Did you guys see Carla's face when Cody's ball dropped and they said, Owen wins immunity? Carla was like, oh.
Oh, I missed that.
Nobody wanted him to win. What a twist in the game. Of course, again, coming down to my USB Cody and one other player for your immunity, I was like, come on, baby, come on. But then it was not to be. Yeah, and it was kind of funny because I was watching the beginning of the episode where Owen's like, they're telling his story, and he's like, yeah, I'm so on the bottom, everyone's against me. And immediately I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to win immunity. He's going to win immunity. He's going to be safe tonight. I felt really bad that Jeannie went home, even though she was my vote out last week. She just couldn't get a leg up in the game, and I felt particularly bad because she was my safe point. Just like you guys, Joanne and Stacy and Rebecca, we all had the same safe point this week, and we all lost the point. And Stacy, you and me, baby, we're kind of down in the basement these days. I'm feeling I might need to warm up my vocal cords if things keep going south. I haven't had a vote-off point yet. But I am so enjoying the season as always. I cannot wait for next week. Joanne, I hope you're feeling much better. And as always, thank you guys for everything. This Survivor podcast Facebook group, highlight, total highlight. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, Rebecca. I want to add one clarification. Both Carla and Jesse, as far as we know with Jesse, have been very tight-lipped, and they haven't shared the deal about their immunity bracelets.
Well,
Cody, on the other hand,
we don't know if he hasn't told Cody, but
I said, as far as we know.
Yeah.
Cody, on the other hand, Jesse immediately knew, and he's also shared with James.
Yeah,
he said that he had told James, which is why
I have one.
Yeah, which was why he was worried when James shared with him that he had the knowledge is power advantage. So I suspect quite a few people know about Cody's, but you're right. Carla and Jesse so far appear to be keeping things to themselves very well. Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from Tito Burrito.
Let the chaos begin. Hey, everyone. It's Tito Burrito from all over the place because I'm constantly moving. And I really, really enjoyed this episode, mainly because I've gotten used to how, for lack of better ways of saying it, boring the recent episodes have been, in my opinion. And I'm just going to say this one. Sorry, Ryan. The age of providers is kind of dead, especially in this new fast-paced game of Survivor. So you just got lucky this time. I don't think it was strategy. I don't think that providing really saved you. I think it was just Janine's time to go in the order of the tribe. Also, big shout out to Auntie Carla, who is everyone's favorite aunt. She brings the booze to the party. She dances with everyone. She gets all the information. Gotta love it. Otherwise, I'm afraid for everyone this season. Everyone thinks that they have a lot more control in this game than they do, and there's a lot of people who think that they're in the driver's seat and want to make a big move. It seems kind of preposterous to me that a lot of people don't have that much of a grasp of the game, but the person who has the best grasp of the game so far, in my opinion, is towards the bottom, and that's Owen. I've never seen a recap, especially a couple of episodes ago, where someone knew so much information about everyone's idols and things like that. So I'm surprised he's at the bottom as much, but I expect him to rise up further, though. And my last point, I was perplexed, and the game switched up a lot when everyone moved their idols around in fear of the advantage where they can steal your idol or your advantage. So the fact that one person ended up with most people's advantages and idols is crazy. And I really like that. I'm going to sign off. Hopefully everyone is having a great time, staying happy and healthy. Tito Burrito, out. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Tito. Next up, we got an email from Erin in Canada.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. I was so glad to hear that Joanne chose Jesse for her USB because I was torn between him and Carla. Sneaky Jesse with Janine's idol. That was awesome. I'm glad to see people have the ability to keep secrets this season. Yay, James has his voice back. It didn't seem as muffled this week.
It was better.
The alley gabler seems to be in a different swamp than everyone else, as he doesn't seem to know what is going on with votes. Poor Janine going home this week. It almost seems like she gave up the fight after losing both Ellie and her idol. Dude, bro, Sammy should be careful with trying to make big moves every episode. People may hear about it and see him as a flipper. Although I appreciate that he was self-aware enough to see where he stands in the Seven Alliance, in some ways he is wise beyond his years. Is it just me, or do you think Owen may rise from the ashes like an underdog? I feel like the editors are giving him a nice story, and it's hard not to cheer for him. What do you think? Well, I think we covered that, and I still loved cheering for him, so I was yelling at him to bang on in the challenge. So, yeah, I think he still has a chance.
Sure, everybody in the game's got a chance right now. He's got no agency, though.
As much as I like most of the people in the Seven Alliance, I would like to see some drama and one of the strategic players out of the game. As always, Jesse and Carla are my favorites, and I don't think that will change. Have a great week. All right, and thank you, Erin.
This is the best chance you got for shaking things up in chaos this coming week.
Yes,
with a double elimination, with two teams
depending
randomly
on how
being chosen.
They're split.
Yeah, and it's more likely than not it's going to be we'll draw for rocks and that'll decide it. That's normally how they do these things.
Or schoolyard
so it'll
pick.
It'll be random.
Too, so
I'm not sure what schoolyard would get you when you're competing against them individually.
Yeah.
That doesn't really fit. So draw for rocks is a better fit.
I think so too. But we don't know for sure what they're doing.
Thanks, Aaron. Next up, we got a call from Drew. Let's see if his voice is any better.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. My voice is still not quite there, which is annoying to me. More of a nuisance at this point, but it's just a waiting game, so whatever. Just finished the recap show. I actually this is Friday night. I finally watched the episode earlier today. And, yeah, I don't know. I was kind of just half-heartedly watching it. I don't know. I feel like I need to – I've just been so busy that I watch it when I get the chance, and I think that is affecting my experience with some of these episodes because it seemed kind of like an okay episode. I thought the challenge was kind of exciting, and I did notice that the platform had a little lip on it, and I think that with the size of the ball and the size of the platform, it just would have been impossible without at least a little bit of a ledge to bump up against it. I mean, it was obviously small enough that it could easily go over. I was glad Owen won. I think that it was interesting because they were setting him up either for a victory or a departure with the backstory and the family and things. But I thought that I was worried for Cassidy for a minute, which is funny because I feel like the first time I've heard Cassidy speak, maybe she seemed a little bit purple to other people too. But yeah, the way she was kind of really, really going after Ryan and going against the Janine idea, I was a little bit afraid for her, but obviously didn't turn out to be a problem. I think that Ryan is living on borrowed time. I was kind of debating between him and James to go. I went with James, but yeah, I think that Ryan is not long for this game, or maybe he'll turn out to be a GOAT. I don't know. I just think he's too much of a physical presence. So eventually, it seems like Carlo's like, yeah, food is nice, but we have food, you know. So yeah, sorry, Janine. I think that I will say my new guy Jesse is looking really good. That was pretty awesome to see that Dwight had to pass the idol on to him before he peaced out. So that was exciting. But yeah, I'm going to try to focus a little bit more next week because I think that it would make the episode have more of an impact on me. But also, I feel like the last couple of episodes are kind of the point of the season when it's just kind of going through some motions, clearing out some dead weight, getting ready for some real, actual heavy gameplay. So that's final 10, and the jury starts to populate. So thanks for your recap. Looking forward to the feedback, and yeah, I feel like I've been feeling a little bit more confident about my vote out picks, even though they've been for the most part wrong. I think they've been actually pretty good, picks that I could really have seen the episode going that way. But anyway, I'll stop talking. Everyone have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Drew. I believe I've seen Cassidy talk more in the extra clips than during actual episodes. And that usually means that person isn't so central to the overall story arcs in the season.
She was pretty outspoken about, how many women have been leaving.
Yeah, and we could see how she was able to stop that from happening this past week.
Yeah, right.
Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's David in Pittsburgh, and let's get right to Tribal Council. The most exciting part of the episode, well, actually, that's a little preposterous. So far this season, we've gotten a lot of blah, 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 and no idol or advantages played. And we're really surprised every episode because of how they're editing the show, and we're just not really seeing the different strategies. And this Tribal Council, for example, we get once again Cody spouting off different sports metaphors, and then there's Jeff, who's doing an imitation of a Jaws soundtrack, and then saying to Cody when Cody's talking, that scares me. Really, Jeff? That scared you? Well, I'm scared because I have absolutely no idea half the time what Cody's talking about. As in several other seasons, I keep hearing players talking about the big moves they're going to make, but never seeing them do anything. And yes, I'm looking at you, Laurel, from season 36's Ghost Island.
Yeah.
As Carla says, if you play too subtly, how will the jury reward you for your moves? But as well as Carla's playing this game, I'm never seeing anybody putting together a decisive way to upset things. Like Sammy says he's going to do it. I haven't seen him do it yet. So when Janine was voted out, female number 6, I really did feel bad for her. She didn't seem to have a lot of gameplay, and she was kind of on Ellie's coattails. And once Ellie was cut loose, she was on her own. But I did feel sorry for her. She just seemed to be not trying hard enough. And when Owen won the challenge, I was cheering. I felt this was one of the most tense competitions this season. I wasn't sure he was going to make it, but again, I love the fact that James was acting, as Owen says, so patronizing to him, and like, we've got you protected, brother. Yeah, right. So if that gave him the impetus to fight harder, then it worked, and good for you, Owen. And from the way James is being edited now, I'm wondering if this is his downfall. We're now seeing the loser edit because we see him smirking, laughing, very cocky. He's got the knowledge is power, which we've seen how that's gone in the past. And I think it's interesting because he's aligned closely with Carla, but Carla and Gio seem to be on the same page at one time. I don't think Carla will have any trouble in letting him go. So we'll see what happens. Oh, and one other thing, Gabler, you're now saying that you're on the bottom? Well, listen, buddy, I remember when you got rid of Ellie, one of your own. Now you've gotten rid of Janine, and Sammy's jumped ship. I wonder why you're in that position. Can't wait to see what happens next week. Talk to you guys then. Bye.
Oh, good one. This is again, just looking forward, this is going to be the week because it was easy to feel comfort in the 7. Heck, an alliance of 7 was bigger than your whole tribe had been since the beginning of the game.
Yep. 5 is a different matter.
Dropping back down to 5, everything gets real immediate. So I think we're going to absolutely see some advantages played this week. And potentially some idols. And you have to be... It isn't real simple in terms of wherever Noelle is stealing a vote, and if she's got one other person that's with her, then they immediately have 3 out of the 5.
Yep. That's pretty simple.
Anyway, it's going to be real interesting. She's still got to play her cards close and not be oversharing, and you almost want the person who's in on it with you to play like they don't know that you're going to do that, like they're worried that you're going to steal their vote potentially out of this too.
Yeah, but if she's telling Carla.
Yeah.
So,
next time on Survivor, it does look like she tells Carla.
That doesn't give me much hope for her to use it successfully.
She would have to not be on a team of 5 with Carla.
Unless it's to Carla's advantage.
Yeah.
And then I could see it. Yeah, Carla guide her right through that. Yep, let's do this.
Yeah, here's how we can do it.
Yep.
But you still have to protect. For example, if Noelle were to end up on a team of 5 with James, you have to protect him stealing it because you got to believe he's going to be looking to use knowledge as power.
Sure, why wouldn't he? Especially on a iffy, 5-person vote.
Yep, and he takes your steal a vote and uses it against you. Yeah, it could certainly get interesting for sure.
So,
I think we're going to get fireworks this coming week.
So he could take her steal a vote and then use it and steal her vote, couldn't he?
Yes.
So
he's got 2. He just needs one other person to vote with him, and then they decide that team of 5 who's going. Likewise, if they can keep it hidden from him, cause him to draw empty when he tries to use it against one of them. So there's a lot of risk, and we're potentially going to see the shuffle game again.
Okay, but what if Noelle had Carla, gave it to Carla, and let her use it so James couldn't take it from her? And then all Carla has to do is let's vote her out.
Yeah.
And then she's got it.
And she's got to steal the vote that she gets to use later.
Nobody knows.
Well, everybody there knows.
It.
Everybody there knows if she, if she ended up with it.
No, they don't.
Oh, you're saying Noelle gave it to her and then she doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. No, they wouldn't.
Yep.
So, I don't know. With this giving things away.
This is why I think we're finally going to get some action. I'm agreeing with everyone. This
what
last
kind
one
of
was
action? I don't know, but something.
Yes. Yep. Thanks, David. Next up, we got an email from Shahin. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hope you and the Survivor fans are well, and great to hear that Joanne's recovered from that double whammy.
Thank you.
Are you recovered?
That
sounds like no.
80%,
80,
maybe?
Yeah. Okay, back to Shahin. What a strange episode. I think the only good story to come out of it was Owen's background story and his subsequent immunity idol win. He did so well to keep himself stable without using any advantageous positioning on his body. The negatives for me were the players and or production on their editing of the episode. Why would Sammy ruminate on the idea of forming a minority to majority alliance overhaul, convince the others it's the right time, for then the post-idol portion of the episode to be centered on Ryan, who is a horrible social player and has little agency, and Janine, who I mentioned last week, having absolutely zero agency. It's super strange to think of something so momentous and significant in the span of the game and then go to the norm. The cherry on top was Sammy saying all that cliche rubbish at Tribal. Please, if you're going to play, then play. All he did was blow hot air. In Janine's interview, she called him Sam Bam. Like, he goes around bamming into things all the time. So it sounds like all that was in character for him.
Should have just said bam bam.
Lots of, yeah, that's what I thought too from the Flintstones, right?
Yeah.
Got that little caveman club, and he's just swinging it everywhere, whacking stuff. I thought getting Janine out was unintelligible overall. I don't understand what anyone gained from it, or even the notion of Ryan being voted. The smart play would have been to break up that Coco sub-alliance and break the game wide open. James, Carla, and Cassidy are playing so smugly, and it's infuriating to watch the others not pick up their influence. Oh, you got Cassidy lumped into that as smug, huh? This is why I'm a fan of the split triple-double vote-off. It reboots the game somewhat in a pivotal period. The other minor positive was someone not revealing information. Yay! The first time in 2.5 seasons someone hasn't revealed an advantage the very second they acquired it. Hopefully we see an idle blindside. Am I wrong in saying we haven't seen one season 41 onwards? So you would mean 42? Anyway, thanks for all that you do. Look forward to hearing from the rest. Thanks, Shahin. It looks like you've completely overlooked the fact that Carla kept hers to herself, her immunity bracelet. So.
Yep.
And she single-handedly got it. Unlike the other two, she had no help in doing so.
So, yeah, definitely for Carla.
Not just Jesse. I would give her more credit even than Jesse. Jesse was handed something. He did nothing to get that other than somehow his social relationship he managed with Dwight. He didn't completely alienate Dwight in the course of their interactions in the course of the game, but that's nothing directly that he
Anyway,
did.
you get it.
That's another way to look at it, just like as long as it's not me.
That's right.
Thanks, Shahin. Next up, we got a call from Cameron. I think it's his week. They trade, don't they? Kim from North Carolina and Cameron from North Carolina.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina calling. I apologize for missing the last couple of weeks. I got a new job, and all's been a little bit hectic on that front of my life, but I'm here nonetheless this week. Apologies for getting in so late, but I just had a few thoughts I wanted to share. So a couple things from the last couple of weeks. One thing last week, I thought Gabler's edit was interesting. It was a lot of him, which ultimately just could have been that he won the challenge that episode, but I was wondering the whole time what that could mean for him in the long run. 2 weeks ago, as far as people go on this season, there's no one I outright disliked, but one that definitely rubbed me the wrong way was Ellie, so I was glad to see her go. I thought it was deserved of her, and she could consider it a blind side from her tribe, but ultimately, once you get down to the merge, everyone's out there for themselves. On the opposite front of who I do like, who's kind of going through that right now, is Owen. I really liked his edit this week. I could tell all along he was a very nice, genuine guy. So I thought it was really cool. We got to hear more of his backstory and how that's still translating to the game he's playing right now. I mean, Survivor is very much real life, how he's having to overcome adversity of seemingly his former tribe is flipping on him in the merge, but he's got to play this game for himself, and I hope he can get to the end. He's not my USB, but I would love to see him get there. And also on that front, when James was telling him that thing of like, you're protected. I didn't like that from James. I think that sort of behavior can definitely talk himself into a hole in the next couple of episodes, and he might be going soon. He doesn't come off as a very strong leader sort of type. He's kind of one to watch himself, when everyone's out there playing for themselves. I mean, we've been seeing that young people have been doing very well in Survivor recently as it is. Who knows how that could hurt him anyway. And on the front of young people, you got Sammy out there who for 19 years old is playing the heck out of this game. He is doing very well, in my opinion. However, his biggest shortcoming lies in his tribal council performance. He was just way too overbearing, in my opinion. I think he needs to be a little bit more humble at tribal council and not let his ego get in the way of logic. And I'm here having to convince everyone around me to vote for me at the end of the day if I do make it there. So, JSFL this season is such a bust for me, man. I've been playing, I missed just 1 week early on, but I guess I'm glad I didn't do the side challenge at the very least, because I have lost so many save points, and it is just terrible. I guess Janine was a risky save pick anyway, but I thought it might happen. I thought we might see her stay. Anyway, Joanna, Stacy, Survivor fans, I will see you all next time.
Thanks, Cameron.
Well, we had her safe too, because I thought, oh, they're not going to target her. Why would they? She's no threat anymore.
Yes.
It's just, usually those people get kicked to the back burner and they go after bigger targets, but that's not happening this season. So
No, someone's got a score to settle.
We all lost points.
And there's it's probably was it a third or more of the players lost a set
I don't
point?
remember. I meant you, me, and Cameron.
Oh,
but
yes.
Yeah, a lot of people did lose.
Thanks, Cameron. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi, everyone. It's Noelle calling from Albuquerque. That was another impressive vote out brought to us by the geniuses over in Survivor 43, the strategic masterminds. They finally got out Janine, mega threat, winning challenges left and right and amassing huge alliances. It's so impressive that they managed to get her out now while she was poised to win the game. Everybody is just doing what James wants to do. King James is in charge. Isn't he the chess champion? Everyone else is so happy to be his chess pieces. Jesse and Cody are the knights, and Ryan is the rook, and Sammy's the bishop. And even Owen is like, oh, I'm so glad I won immunity. Now I get to do what James wants me to do. Finally. It's so boring. Cassidy's our only hope. She's the only one who showed any sign of being willing to stand up to James. Maybe something will happen there. Probably not. Everyone have a great weekend. Bye.
Oh, that one had some bite to it. A little bit of edge there, Noelle.
Noelle's baby doesn't like the podcast because it takes his
attention.
mommy's attention away.
Yep.
We understand.
Thanks, Noelle. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
It's been quite a while since I've participated in giving out my thoughts on here for everyone, but I have been listening to the feedbacks and am enjoying this season. It's not exactly memorable yet, but I am enjoying it so far. For this most recent episode, because of all the swapping of idols and advantages, I was quite confused with who ended up with what. But knowing Jesse has 2 idols in his possession was quite surprising. Poor Janine had no idea that it was still in play, but why would she when she gave it to Dwight for safekeeping? That immunity/reward of rice challenge always seems like it could be quite the challenge, especially when you have to factor in the wind. But there was quite an impressive battle going on there. I do believe Owen would have gone home if he hadn't won the challenge. I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts, and we'll try to talk to you guys next week. All right, thanks, Jack.
Up next, we've got junior etymologist Jody.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey. Hey, Survivor family. Jody in Brisbane. Okay, first off, placate and placate is not tomato, it's more potato. Placate is absolutely correct. And I know that there's differences between American English and Australian English, proper English, but yeah, placate, not a thing. Definitely placate. So you know.
Okay, so here's where we are with this.
You went and researched something.
I did. I just did a quick search. I'm going to play 2. I'll have you do it, but everybody guess which of these 2 is British English and which one is North American English. Here's the first one.
Placate.
That's the one that Jody said was British English, or the proper English.
I said.
And then here's the other, because there are 2.
Placate.
That is British English.
Placate.
Yeah, I said placate, but basically the same. Emphasis different on the second syllable.
So yours was just on nobody's chart.
No, mine is British English. So not only is she wrong about there being 2.
Placate.
Well, here.
Yours
let's
was
get
on
some others.
nobody's radar.
Here's another one from the UK.
Wasn't even on a southern radar.
Oh, that one's not working.
Oh, good. Let's move on. Placate. They couldn't hear that.
Yeah. Okay. I can't get those to play.
Honey.
But
your
my point
is in the way.
My point
of the podcast
is that there are 2 pronunciations, and hers, and she got what she offered was the North American.
And we're right. Go, Jody.
She offered the North American pronunciation, not what she thought was the
Doesn't matter. Jody and I were correct.
I was correct too. My pronunciation.
No, you weren't.
My pronunciation works. It's just a slightly different. Okay, back to Jody.
what I'd really like to see is instead of when they decide, okay, we're going to have 2 people going out of the game at this point, I'd prefer if they just had the first 2 winners or whatever. You can separate it to teams, whatever, and then go to tribal and be like, okay, so vote. No, not in 2 lots. All of it, all together. Go on, vote. And then see what happens. Sure, the top lot are going to scoop out a bottom feeder, but also the bottom feeders are going to take out a big fish all by themselves. Yeah, what do you reckon? Let's just stir the pot a little bit more. Anyway, that's all I got for this week. Another chick bite the dust, so let's see what goes. Come on, Cody. Come on, Kiala. And Noelle. I'm loving Noelle. Yeah, I think she's out. But anyway, that's me. Bye.
Thanks, Jody. So she's looking for it to be everybody's in, not 2 separate tribal councils. 1 tribal council, and the 2 people that get the most and the second most votes are the ones that go. I think that's what I understood her to be saying. Does that sound right?
It's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we said, we don't know for sure what's going to happen. That was not explained. We were just assuming there would be a 5-5.
Mm-hmm. Since that's
but then
how
we
it's been
thought
done
about,
in the past.
But
it could
we
go a
didn't
different way.
think earlier in the season when everybody voted that was going to happen either.
Right.
At the merge, and it did. So it's like, okay, so we really don't know for sure.
Thanks, Jody. And I included a link in the show notes so you can go study the proper pronunciations a little closer. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, it was a solid episode, even though it ended with a continued pagonging. Hopefully a tribe split and double vote off next week will shake things up and get individual phase going.
Yes.
My other observations, Jesse performed 2 magic tricks, idle sleight of hand and making Dwight disappear. Yeah, that he should get credit for, yeah. Janine wanted people to play with her. They did, like cats with a mouse. The editor's bracelet misdirect was practice for their next time on Survivor montage. Owen, just because you're in college admissions doesn't mean everything is a transcript. For Carla, sitting out for Rice beats playing a gripping challenge with injured fingers. When it came to getting Owen out, Cody literally dropped the ball. Ryan, that's definitely dad joke level right there. Ryan wants to wrap a burrito in pizza. He'd better not try that with pudding and tacos. I don't know. That could work. Just depends on what you're putting in the tacos.
You make weird concoctions. Things that turn my stomach.
Yes. Owen feels like he's back on the playground. I'll bet he's dreading schoolyard picks. This week's lottery numbers, Gang of 7, Week 8, 10 players left, Day 16, 21 fish, Season 43. There you go. Ryan's playing the game so hard, but the game he's playing is Go Fish. Sammy wants to be in control and win Survivor. I Want a Pony. There it is. We get a different I Want a Pony one each week now. Survivor's about hitting windows, but preferably not like a bird. Did they borrow those immunity challenge cubicles from Dilbert? Nothing inspires challenge success like being the obvious target. During the immunity challenge, Ryan finally started using his head. That's right, he rested it on his head, didn't he? On his forehead. Gabler's looking for a safe harbor, but I think that ship has sailed. The paint job Cody and Sammy gave the boat was simply preposterous. There's a good extra video on them working through the spelling of that. Does Ryan, it's on EW.com, does Ryan swim so much because he hopes to meet a nice mermaid? Did anyone else catch Noelle doing the Linda Carter Wonder Woman pose? Ooh, I did miss that. When did she do that? She had, like, that's out, hands on hips, right?
You have to go back and watch.
Cassidy pointing out that women are getting targeted puts a target on her. Gabler has resting, befuddled face, especially when he wears that hat. Owen wants to be on the bus, not under it. Gameplay is fluid. Is that why Ryan spends so much time in the water? Cody cooked rice while everyone else decided whose goose to cook. Sammy says trust is a fishy word. Does that mean he trusts Ryan? The price of rice increased from 4 sit-outs to 5. Inflation has come to Survivor. Ryan wants Janine to embrace being a leader as mayor of Ponderosa. I wonder if James can claim a bracelet or advantage as it's being played. No, I don't think so. Let's see. We have to go look because Paul's got the details on it, I think, on the roster. You just got to click on the little extra information, the 3 bars on the left.
I don't know that they give all the tiny little details that...
It may say specifically when it can be versus, it has to be before the vote or something like that. But that would be interesting. Ryan has tight bonds with fish. Is he Aquaman? Dwight took his exit interview cues from the editors. They misled us too. Next time, 2 necklaces, 2 going home. Will James get run over on the Autobahn to $1 million? All right, way to work Cody's line in there. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. Jeremiah here. And before I start my feedback, I wanted to first make a few announcements. I wanted to say that I was sorry to hear about the passing of Roger from the Season 6 Amazon. If anybody wants to, Rob Ciccinino, during Know-It-Alls this week, he had a nice tribute to him. So that was sad to hear. Joanne, though, I'm glad to hear you're getting better. Hopefully that continues to improve.
Thank you.
And while I'm at it, I also wanted to make sure I take a moment to thank every veteran that is listening to this podcast. Really appreciate for your sacrifice. All right, so on to the episode. Yeah, Janine? Boy, I just feel like there's a lot of other bigger fish they could have gone after than Janine at this point. She's kind of dead in the water. So I was a little surprised by that. I was really kind of expecting a big move, and obviously we did not get one. Yeah, and the girls, holy cow, they're disappearing quickly. I looked back. We didn't have quite a few girls who went out early in these first 2 new versions of Survivor in 41 and 42. And, of course, we wind up still having a woman who won, which could be the case this season as well. As you guys mentioned, Carla is in really good shape, and seems to be in control of a lot of things going on right now. So I don't like the fact, of course, that we're losing so many women so quickly. But as long as Carla's still in there, I kind of feel like there's a shot still to have a woman winner. But I tell you what, the percentages are certainly looking in favor of a man winning this season. So we'll find out. But I'm looking. I really didn't make any notes this week. So I think that for the most part, that was something I wanted to touch on, is that particular conversation. But I did want to say, how about my boy Jesse? I'll tell you what, that was sneaky. He's sneaky. That was really cool to find out that he had Dwight's idol. Makes me start to think that, that had a little bit to do with it, you would think, right? Their decision to flip. Maybe it really was because of that idol. Very exciting. So we'll see how that plays out. As far as next week on Survivor, man, this group, it's really hard to tell for sure what they're going to do. I know, we got a lot of stuff that's going to happen next week. I think that, I know they're trying to sell us on a big move, but I don't know if I'm completely buying it. I feel like that might be some smoke and mirrors there. I think that most likely an Owen will be the person going home, but I wouldn't keep James safe. He does seem like someone who go home. I had him going home this week. Obviously, that didn't work out. So I might consider leaning that direction. But yeah, I would say probably one of those 2 guys who's going to go home next week. All right, well, that's it for me. You guys take care. Until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah. You actually get to pick 2, so you could have them both. How's that? Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here, and I've got to say, I am impressed. Jesse is stone cold. First, we find that Dwight gave him Janine's idol, and then he turns around and votes him off. There might be something solid about his gameplay after all, because, yeah, that was a great move. And I have a sneaking suspicion that all of us, or at least the majority of us here, were rooting hard for Owen. I didn't see the draw in him that a lot of people did during the Javik episode, but he's really grown on me, and I hope he lasts. Seeing him win the challenge was the high point of this episode, and it's fun to see him checking all of those boxes for what he hoped to accomplish this season. And speaking of the challenge, well, sorta. What was with Gabler never looking up to see how his ball was situated during the whole thing? I mean, couldn't the alligator lift his head out of the water, or was he just too tired? Also, when I saw numerous people, Ryan especially, using parts of their body to support the pole, I was waiting for Jeff to call them out, but hey, don't ask, just do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And having 30 seconds to add another length of pole may seem like a lot of time, but it certainly wasn't. And here's something odd and completely random. Every time I watch the winner of the challenge hang their immunity necklace at camp, I wonder if the hook was put there by the tribe themselves or if production does it to get a good camera angle of it. Yeah, I wonder weird things. Anyway, this episode was chock full of good intent. Yeah, I can't name the individual actions all offhand, but I also can't count on one hand how many times Taz and I said to each other, no good deed goes unpunished. And because of that, I would never sacrifice my ability to win immunity for food for everyone. But that's just me. James. Yeah, his telling Owen that he's safe, well, that only made Owen distrust him even more because, come on. There is something about James that I just find distasteful. Whenever I see him, it's like I'm biting on tinfoil, and I'll be glad to see him go. Sure, you've all heard me go off on Gabler, so surely you know that he's not one of my favorite people in the game, but I'll admit that he's fun to watch. James, however, I just don't like seeing him. I just want to tell him to pull his pants up. And voting off Janine just seemed like such a waste of a tribal. I mean, she's smaller than any of the fish that Ryan brings back, and she certainly had no voice in the game, so this vote off just seemed like a stall tactic to me. But that'll surely change during the next episode. Of course, I'd like to see James go next, but we all know that he could protect himself. So, what if he uses his knowledge as power and somehow steals Cody's idol? Could Noelle immediately turn around and use her knowledge as power on James? I mean, it's a guaranteed correct use of the power, right? Having these two knowledge as powers in play, that could be very interesting. So all in all, this is another crapshoot week when it comes to picking who goes next, and I think I'm just going to put all the players' names in a hat and draw out two. And you know what? I think I'm serious here. I'll let you know how that works out next week. And to end this whole rambling mess, I just wish with 2 vote-offs headed our way that we could have another hour-and-a-half episode, because I think that this next hour is going to be a roller coaster ride and a half. So there you have it. Good luck, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. Noelle can steal anybody's vote.
Mm-hmm. Sure. The only way she can't is if a knowledge's power takes it away from her.
Yep. And there's only one of those, so
they would have to end up on the same team for that particular brand of excitement to come to be.
Yep.
Who knows? That's why this next one is, I agree with Paul 100%, needs to be a 90-minute, because there's going to be a lot happening between two teams trying to lock in on a vote out, and with the advantages active. What's that?
I said, but it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah. So
Dang it.
It's going to be moving quick. I said maybe we'll get the challenge, which is, we could see the challenge in the next time on. It's that classic one where you have to hold a bar. There's a ball sitting in a metal chute, and you have above your head, and you've got to keep the bar that you can reach. You got to keep it pushed up so the ball doesn't roll out of the chute. It's just that simple. So it's an endurance challenge, and looks like everybody's in it all at the same time. So it'll be, who do you think can, because that's another thing. 2 people are going to be immune. So trying to factor this in, like Paul and everybody else was talking about, trying to consider all the factors, the 3 different immunity idol bracelets and 2 additional individual immunities and a steal a vote challenge, advantage rather, that can come into play, and the knowledge is power. And then you've got how are the alliances going to hold, or what alliances will get formed in those 2 teams of 5.
I don't think Carla would consider herself at risk, and I can't see her playing hers.
Okay, let me give you a scenario. Carla ends up on a team with Owen, Sammy, Gabler, and Noelle. Don't you think she might have some cause for pause there?
No.
No.
I think she thinks she's close with them all.
Hmm.
She's
I don't care what you
Close
had.
with
That would make
Owen.
me
She's-
anxious.
Noelle's, we see Noelle telling Carla that she's gonna, and the women have been hanging pretty close together. And
That would be a perfect thing for Noelle to say to Carla if she was targeting Carla. Here's our chance,
could be.
Noelle says to Gabler, Owen, and Sammy.
I still think Carla's pretty tough. I don't think she'll crack and play it.
I would hope she would if she feels like she's
But what
in
I'm saying
jeopardy.
is I don't think she'll feel that way.
Well, then they will have conned her expertly.
If that's the way it goes.
Well,
yes.
that's the scenario I set up to try to see if you thought that might give her pause.
No,
Okay.
because she's told Sammy, I got your back. And he's like, yeah, I got your back. And Noelle and definitely Owen.
It's an individual game for $1 million.
So, yes, I'm aware. Now, Carla would vote anyone out, I believe, at this point. I used to think she wouldn't vote out James, but I actually think she would.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
She's going to
too.
have to eventually if she wants to get there. So, I think she would.
That's quite the notch on your belt, actually, at this point. Whoever gets to say, hey, I was part of taking down James.
Yep.
Because he was helping call the shots.
I don't know that will happen, but I'm ready.
Yeah.
I voted for him this week to go, so I'm ready.
Yep. That's why I think hopefully this next episode makes up for the lackluster, pagonging, mediocre, middle of the road kind of thing here.
We will hope so.
In week 8. So week 9, we're looking for you to deliver.
Well, as Jeremiah pointed out, the Survivor family has lost another survivor. Roger Sexton from season 6, The Amazon, passed away this week. We just wanted to give our condolences to his friends and family, and rest in peace, Roger.
He was a critical part of that season. He was certainly a standout character.
Well, and Rob C. was in there with him, too, so
Yeah.
I'm glad he paid tribute.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who took the time to share your thoughts and predictions with us today. We enjoyed it. We appreciate it. We look forward to hearing from you. And we want to say a big thanks to Scott for your donation. We greatly appreciate that. Scott's always there for us. Thank you, sir.
And if you're playing in JSFL, don't forget to make your week 9 picks for 2 people voted off.
Count them, 2 vote offs.
And thank you, honey. And 4 people who are safe. Just a reminder that you can let your picks roll forward, but if you go 3 consecutive weeks without making picks, the website will assume you have quit and will remove you from the game for the season.
This would be a bad week to let your picks
happen.
roll, because you're going to miss out on being able to make that second vote out.
Yeah, no one
choice.
should roll this week. So.
Yeah.
Anything else?
We are looking forward to this upcoming episode. It's going to make up we're just going to deliver on the excitement. That's my prediction.
Okay. Well, we'll be back here on next Wednesday with our recap.
Have a good one.